The small town of Iyo buzzed with excitement as the morning sun rose high in the sky. It was the day Basi and Nse had been waiting for, their wedding day. The couple had chosen to be joined in holy matrimony at Livestream Pentecostal Church. Livestream was a church their parents worshipped. Neither Basi or Nse worshipped there since they live in Lagos. They only came to Iyo for their wedding. Pastor James, the beloved shepherd of the church, had been preparing for weeks. Known for his heartfelt sermons and deep wisdom, he saw this union as a blessing to the congregation. The air buzzed with excitement at Livestream Pentecostal, where the grand wedding of Basi and Nse was about to unfold. The day was wrapped in a palette of gold and white chosen to symbolize royalty and purity. From the flowers lining the aisle to the intricate drapery, everything glowed in those vibrant hues. Inside the church, the decorators had adorned themselves. The walls shimmered with white and gold drapes, symbolizing purity and royalty. Banquets of lilies and roses adorned the altar, their fragrance filling the air. The wooden pots gleamed under the soft light of the chandeliers. Inside the preparation room, Nse's nephew, a boy of 6 years old, was dressing up. He was designated as the little groom, a role he took very seriously. His partner, Mfon, the little bride, twinkled in a white dress adorned with tiny gold flowers. Do I look like a princess? Mfon asked, adjusting her tiny flower. You look like a queen, Ini, the little groom answered. The two had rehearsed their walk down the aisle countless times, and their enthusiasm lit up the room. The church was filled with guests. Basi and Nse's guests came in from Lagos, UK, USA, and everywhere in Nigeria, their vibrant attires creating a sea of colors. The women in their gele, headwears, and flowing gowns, the men in crisp agbadas, and children in miniature formal wear, all buzzed with joy. A choir, dressed in white robes, hummed softly in the background, setting the atmosphere for the holy ceremony. Nse sat in a small room behind the church, her heart pounding with a mix of nerves and excitement. Her gown was a vision of elegance, with delicate beadwork shimmering like stars. Her sister, her maid of honor, adjusted her veil while her mother whispered prayers over her. You are ready, my daughter, her mother said, her voice soft with emotion. Today, you will walk into your destiny. Nse's sister Eno stood beside her as a maid of honor, a vision of grace in a flowing gold gown with white accents. She adjusted Nse's veil, smiling warmly. You look stunning, Eno whispered, her voice full of emotion. Behind them, the bridal train buzzed with energy. Each bridesmaid wore a sleek dress in alternating shades of white and gold, their smiles as bright as their outfits. They carried the matching banquet, their excitement contagious as they laughed and posed for pictures. Meanwhile, Basi stood in the main hall adjusting his white suit and gold tie. His brother and best man, Edidion, clapped him on the back. You look sharp, Edidion said with a grin. Now breathe, Nse isn't running away. Basi laughed nervously. I just want everything to be perfect for her. As the organist began playing the wedding march, the congregation rose to their feet. Bassey stood at the altar, his heart hammering as the doors at the back of the church opened. Ini and Mfon led the way, stepping carefully down the aisle. The congregation couldn't help but smile at the sight of the little groom holding the little bride's hand, their faces glowing with pride. The bridesmaids followed in pace, their gowns swaying as they walked. The colors of gold and white seemed to dance in the light streaming through the stained glass windows. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. Nse appeared at the door with her father, Chief Isom, holding her hand. Her white gown shimmered in the sunlight, and her veil flowed behind her like a cloud. Gasps of admiration filled the room as she took her first step down the aisle. Nse felt her father's strength beside her, his hand steady on hers. It gave her confidence as she took each step forward, her eyes briefly meeting the smiling faces of family and friends before locking onto Bassey at the altar. He stood tall and proud, his love for her written all over his face. Her father's presence grounded her. It was a reminder of where she came from, the foundation of love and guidance that had prepared her for this day. Bassey stood at the altar, his eyes fixed on her. His calm demeanor melted into a soft smile, his heart swelling with love and gratitude. As she reached him, her father placed her hand in Bassey's. "Take care of her," he said softly. "I will," Bassey replied, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Chief Isom, Nse's father, stepped back, watching as Nse and Bassey faced the pastor together. His heart was heavy with emotion, but it was also full of joy. This was the moment he had been preparing her for all her life. As he took his seat in the front row, Chief Isom whispered a silent prayer of gratitude, knowing his daughter was stepping into a future filled with love and blessings. Pastor James, the officiant, began with a heartfelt prayer. "Today, we witness the union of two souls brought together by God's love and grace," he said, his voice resonating through the church. The couple exchanged vows, their voices trembling with emotion. "Nse," Bassey began, "you are my light, my strength, and my greatest blessing. I promise to honor, protect, and cherish you all the days of my life." Nse smiled through her tears as she replied, "Bassey, you are my best friend, my anchor, and my joy. I vow to love you earnestly, to stand by you, and to build a future together filled with faith and love." The rings were exchanged, and Pastor James declared, "By the power invested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Bassey, you may kiss the bride." The room erupted with cheers as Bassey gently lifted Nse's veil and kissed her, sealing their union. Then it was time for the sermon. Pastor James started his sermon, but what followed left everyone in shock. Pastor James began, his voice loud and firm. "Marriage is not about equality. It is about the wife submitting unconditionally to her husband, no matter what. Even if you know your husband is messing around with another woman, what you will do is when he returns from work, go take his briefcase and walk him indoors, help him remove his suit, and make food for him." The bride, Nse, stiffened. Her smile faded as she glanced at her groom, who looked equally puzzled. The chief bridesmaid, Eno, exchanged wild-eyed glances with the groomsmen. A murmur rippled through the congregation. Pastor James continued undeterred. by the growing on his. A husband's authority is absolute. A woman's opinion should never challenge her husband. This is the design of marriage. Wives who fail to obey this risk bringing chaos into their homes. By now, whispers were spreading like wildfire. Elderly women in the congregation shook their heads in disapproval, and the younger women exchanged incredulous looks. Even the men in the audience began to shift uncomfortably in their seats. Eno, Nse's bridesmaid, seated behind the bride, was visibly furious. She could barely sit through the rest of the ceremony. She made up her mind to confront the pastor after the wedding. The murmurs grew louder, with members of the congregation shaking their head in disagreement. Realizing the growing discontent, Pastor James stammered, "I meant no offense. Perhaps we should move on." At the end of the sermon, the wedding ended. As the newlyweds walked down the aisle hand in hand, they were very happy for their union but were displeased with the sermon Pastor James preached. After church that day, Eno turned on her voice recorder on her phone and went straight to Pastor James' office to confront him about the sermon he preached. As she entered, she said, "With due respect, sir, I have a question to ask." Pastor James nodded, signaling her to proceed. Eno continued, "What should a groom do if he finds his bride with another man? Should he welcome her, collect her handbag, help her undress, and give her food?" The pastor's expression turned tense, clearly offended by her question. "How dare you ask such a thing?" he snapped. Eno remained composed and pressed further. "Where in the Bible did you find a justification for the sermon you preached today?" His anger flared even more. "This is my church, and I can preach whatever message I feel is right," he retorted. Frustrated by her persistence, he called for the security guards to escort her out of his office. Before leaving, Eno stood her ground and said firmly, "You owe the couple an apology for delivering such an inappropriate sermon on their wedding day." Pastor James coughed and replied, "I will never apologize." Eno walked out, but not before making her stand clear. "This matter is far from over," she warned, her voice steady with resolve. Eno was a young, confident woman with a strong presence on social media. Her page, dedicated to motivational posts, trending topics, and advocacy for justice, have grown to over 200,000 followers. She was known for her fearless approach to tackling sensitive issues, and her followers admired her for it. After confronting the pastor and he asked his security to walk her out of his office, Eno uploaded a snippet of the sermon to her social media page, captioning, "This was the message preached at my sister's wedding today by Pastor James, a message that undermines the value of women and misrepresents the beauty of marriage. This is unacceptable, and I demand an apology." Her followers were quick to react. Comments flooded in expressing outrage at the sermon. One of the followers said, "This is disgusting. Women deserve better than this. Marriage is a partnership, not a dictatorship. This pastor is way off. Eno, thank you for standing up against this. He owes your sister and every woman an apology." Another follower reacted, "Very sad indeed. It's what the Nigerian stroke African society have been accepting for ages. But to think even a preacher will be an enabler to such, especially as advice on a wedding day, is sickening." Another follower reacted, "What happened to husband love your wife and wife submit to your husband?" Another follower also reacted, "Such a man is not worthy to be called a pastor. God bless the newly wedded." The post went viral, spreading beyond her usual audience. Enoch continued to call out Pastor James in follow-up posts, tagging his church officials' accounts. She wrote, "Pastor James, as a man of God, your words carry weight. What you preached was harmful and wrong. If you truly believe in justice and love, you will publicly apologize and retract your statements." The pressure mounted as more people shared Enoch's post, demanding accountability. Local news outlets picked up the story, amplifying the issue further. Initially, Pastor James and his church were silenced, but after days of mounting criticism, the pastor released a statement on social media. In a video, he appeared sober, addressing the controversy directly. "I have listened to the feedback regarding the message I preached at Bassey and Incest Wedding. It was not my intention to cause harm or offense. However, upon reflection, I realized my words were misguided and did not reflect the true essence of love and partnership in marriage. I sincerely apologize to the couple, their family, and everyone who was affected by my sermon." Enoch reposted the apology, writing, "Accountability matters. Let this be a lesson for everyone in positions of influence. Words have power. We must use them to uplift, not diminish others. Thank you to everyone who stood with me on this." The incident sparked widespread conversation about gender equality in religious teachings. Many applauded Enoch's courage for speaking out and using a platform for good. As for Pastor James, the experience humbled him, leading him to reevaluate his approach to preaching. Enoch's determination not only brought about an apology, but also opened the door for meaningful dialogue, proving that one voice can spark change. Let us know your thoughts on this in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye.